you like things shiny and new just like I do? Well, if you do, this week's episode is for you. We are talking all about new construction here on the Jennifer Gale Real Estate Team YouTube channel. If you haven't already, there is a link below. Like and subscribe to the channel, check out our website, and when you're ready, there's also a link for you to book a call with us and we can chat. The tables have turned a little bit today, haven't they? Mm-hmm. I am sitting in the seat here, in the hot seat. And actually, no, Drew's in the hot seat, I guess, in this case.
Phil Donahue of the episode now.
Yes,
yep.
That's right. Animals and Scandals.
Yep.
Let's go for it.
Your little cue cards there, all cold up.
Yeah. I come prepared. Yeah, Drew's sitting in the hot seat today because you have some extensive knowledge when it comes to
new builds. I call it extensive, but I have some knowledge.
You have extensive experience.
There you go.
That's a better way of putting it.
Been around it.
Yeah. You worked a long time with one of our incredible local builders.
Yep.
John Goodman.
Yep. Goodman Homes.
Yep.
LTD.
Did a lot of years with him. So, yeah, we're going to chat a little bit about what it's like to build a new home, the whole process, and yeah. Let's get to it.
All right,
ready?
Let's go.
All right,
I
gotta crack mine.
Yep.
All right,
so you notice here, like this is not taken off. The cherry has not taken off like we thought. There's been some backlash on some taste, whatever. So most people are still going original. I'm slowly getting rid of the cherry, so I'll have a cherry today.
Yeah, same. I still have a whole case at home. All right, so in a nutshell, how would you describe new construction? Would you say what makes it unique versus resale, which also kind of seems kind of obvious, but.
Well, like my family, I grew up, we never had a new home. So I only ever had one home, but it wasn't new. My parents had never built anything new. So I didn't know a ton about it really until I started like representing Goodman Homes, but then I actually built my own first home with John. So I think in a nutshell, the cool factor to building a new home is the fact that you can control a lot of your look, right? Like you can pick what you want right from the start. So it's kind of like you're doing like a whole facelift reno on your house, but like it's not, it's like a new house.
Yeah.
So you get to pick your floor, pick your paint, pick your everything.
Cabinets.
I think that's the main draw of what people like.
Yeah, for sure. You don't have to talk to me about new builds. Actually my existing home now is the first in my life, first resale home I've ever lived in.
And it was like 4 years old.
Yes.
Super old.
And then I did a lot of work to it too. What can I say? I like what I like. So walk us through the process from the very beginning. When a buyer says, I want to build new, what's sort of that first step that they would take?
Well, where and who with, right? So I know when I was back in the day and John had the whole subdivision that you live in now, that's where we started, kind of on Halifax, Normandy area. That's where it was going to go east from there. But if somebody said, I want to build a new house, I would say, okay, I'm assuming they've gone through the pre-approval process. So we know how much money they have. Obviously, at that time, I knew how much money generally like a build would cost. Now, I'll preface this whole episode saying this is me with Goodman Homes. It's going to be different with a lot of builders. They're going to have their process. This is just our process.
Right.
Somebody would come to me, it would be a meeting with John out in the subdivision. He would know which lots he had. Pick a lot. So, I mean, 2-story ranch or bungalow might be a little different size lot required, but generally pick your lot and then start the verbal process of like, what do you want? So John was a true custom builder. He would literally build you what you wanted. So that meeting might move into, do you want a 2-story? You want how many bedrooms? How many bathrooms? Double car garage? What style overall you like? and John would go to DJ Design and get that first draft done.
Yeah.
And then kind of the nitty gritty starts from there, is like moving this, moving that, tailoring it to your specific needs.
Yeah. He didn't really have any spec homes, did he?
He did. He had plans that he reused. Like, so if he was building something and there was something out there that was an example of what you could have, like if somebody really wasn't like crazy picky and he was already building a 2-story somewhere, we might go in that and say like, okay, well here's, he didn't name his models. Like he didn't have like, oh, this is the whatever.
The Carolinian?
Yeah. So he, it was just like, this is a 2-story that we can build. You can build this one on that lot if that's what you want.
Yeah.
And a lot of people aren't that picky, surprisingly enough. They don't, like, I wasn't. Like, I mean, I guess I was. Like, I would want what I want. But a lot of people are like, no, this is cool. Yeah, like, but from there, you pick all your exterior and everything. So there is some customization to an already existing plan.
Yeah. And it's tough sometimes to look at drawings on paper and to visually be able to put it all together.
Spatial awareness.
Yeah. So, and I think too, when you start adding in those other features, they may not care so much about the layout or the, certain elements of it, but it'll be, well, I want to pick my cabinets, and, that's where they become a little bit more involved in that process. But I know with me, kind of the opposite in my new construction experiences. It was very much, well, here are our plans. Here are the elevations. Here are our plans. Which one works for you? And there was maybe a little bit of customization, but when it came to it, it was not quite. It was a little bit more cookie cutter.
Yeah, that's kind of always my pet peeve of some of the builders calling themselves custom builders, because they weren't.
Yeah.
They weren't. But whatever. I mean, they built a good house, but.
Yeah, they did. But yeah, you can usually tell when you drive down the street of any of the subdivisions, even the subdivision you live in, you're like, oh, yep, I can tell who built that one. And a little bit more variation, I think, out now with out in your subdivision than it is in mine. But how would you say, so the paperwork, so when we do new or on resale, we have our agreement of purchase and sale. It's very standard forms that we use on resale. How does it differ? Is there much difference in what the kind of the paperwork in that process of things?
Again, it depends on the builder. Some builders are going to be all lawyered up, and that lawyer is going to have all their agreements. It's not going to look anything like an AREA agreement that we're used to. And that's okay. A lot of it'll be a lot of protections for the builder, as far as maybe timelines and finishes and maybe price adjustments on certain finishes up until close. I get it. Locally, with a lot of the local builders, it was basically an AREA offer like we normally see, with a schedule attached with standards.
Yeah.
That's what you're, as a consumer, that's what you're going to want to see. Like, what bare bones am I getting as part of this build? And that a lot of times will be a schedule attached at the end of an offer that everybody will have to like initial each page. And that's a lot of the stuff you don't see. It's like, oh, we use 3/4 screen gravel on our like all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But I mean, to some people, I guess it matters. To others, it's just like, okay, whatever. Like, I don't care what thickness of subfloor you use, but like, you might when it's good compared to not good.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. But yeah, everybody's more concerned about, well, what am I getting? Am I getting laminate countertops? Am I getting solid surface? Am I getting hardwood floor? Am I getting laminate floor? Am I getting carpet? What, those things.
So, I mean, again, like it'll depend on the builder as far as some have their own, some just use the normal AREA forms with their own schedule. That's, I think, the two kind of options you would have.
Yeah. Along the way, so you can start out with that, your offer and your agreement and all of the schedule with everything of what's included. But particularly with somebody, say like John, where it's very much a custom build, he might have sort of standard elements and features about it, but the things that kind of come along throughout the process with the purchaser, where they might be like, oh, you know what, I want to add in a gas fireplace here, or different things that they may decide. I guess this may be a bad example because it's pretty early on you need to decide that.
Yeah.
But somewhere, some change that they may want to make that would be, I don't know if you would call it an upgrade or not, but something along those lines that would be something that would get added in. How did that get dealt with?
So let's take plumbing,
Okay.
right? The builder's going to have their standards, and all builders across the scope will have their standard toilet they're putting in,
Yeah.
right? That'll be whatever. I don't know. Like for the local guys, we dealt with local companies. So like John in the later stages was at Oxford Plumbing. So as a consumer, Oxford Plumbing would know John's standard faucets, toilets, everything.
Yeah.
Now John would send you to the plumber, like to Oxford Plumbing, into their showroom, and like get the calculator ready, because everybody wants not just a normal chrome faucet. They want brush, they want black, they want gold. All options, upgrades.
Yeah.
So whether Oxford Plumbing would tell you how much that upgrade was on the spot, probably not. But you would say, I want that toilet, I want these faucets throughout, I want this, this, and this. Handful of days later, they would send all those extras to John,
Yeah.
itemized.
Yep.
John would then get a hold of you as the consumer and say, okay, well, I see you went to the plumbers, and your upgrade list is $5,700
Yeah.
over the builder standard. Now, you can take the builder standard or you can upgrade. You have that option. So
Yeah.
that's where you say, okay, well, that's too much. We really only wanted to go $3,000 over on plumbing. So we're going to get rid of like this, 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 and this, and then we're good there.
Yeah.
And that's going to be for lighting, that's going to be for plumbing, that's going to be for the kitchen. All the different components of what you're picking are going to be along those lines
Yeah.
of how that works.
So there'll be like those allowances there.
Yes, basically.
And then you can go adjust.
I always
as you
told
wish.
my people building, anything that you think is cool will cost more money.
And it does.
Yeah, like if
Absolutely
it's
does.
trendy, it's going to be more money. It's as simple as that.
Budget for it.
Yeah.
Speaking of money,
Yep.
deposits when it comes to new construction. Now, we were chatting about this the other day. Your experience might be a little bit
Yeah.
different. But typically, so in a resale situation, we would have a deposit at the time that the offer is accepted. And it can be structured in other ways, but most commonly, nothing else is due until the actual closing date, and it's due at closing. With new construction, typically, not always, deposits, there could be chunks due kind of along the way, whether it's when they break ground or at certain markers sort of along that process. What have you found in your experience? Or
I'm easily the worst example of talking about deposits for new builds you could get. John was great to the point where you felt a lot of times like your uncle was building you a house.
Yeah.
John would take really whatever deposit you had available and pretty much be cool with it. In his mind, if somebody gave him X amount for deposit and then flaked out on the build for whatever reason, he didn't care. He'd give your deposit back and he would just sell the house to somebody else.
Yeah,
like
that's good.
It was, as long as it wasn't too customized, he was pretty cool with it. So John a lot of times would take whatever you had, whenever you had it, and be cool with it. So if you came to John and said, like, I want this house on this lot, right now I really only have 10 grand cash, and I might get more before close, but I might not. John would be like, oh, okay, whatever.
Yeah.
So not a great example. I think a lot of builders, like, they have a deposit schedule. So it'll be a certain percentage rate, boom, to like either secure the lot, secure the house, whatever. Then it'll be like another percentage on groundbreaking. Then it'll be another percentage after, say, framing,
Yeah.
up to a total, usually not more than 10%.
Yeah, like it's not
At least
like
around here. I don't know what it's like in Toronto, but around here, like you're probably going to max out total at 10% of the house build throughout the process of building up until close.
Right.
So it's like a schedule that you would pay them, like
Yes. Yeah.
2% now, 5% after this date, 10% at the end.
Yeah.
Like total.
Yeah.
Added up. So
Yeah.
I think that's generally how they work across the board.
Yeah. And not our area of expertise on either of our sides, but from my experience too, two of the homes that were new as an adult that I've built, we built from ground up. The other one was a spec house that was already done. But we managed to, you work with your lender and you figure out, they work with you through that and everything. So it's not like you got to be sitting on all this money as, these deposits are due. So,
and John always understood that. Like he always felt like if you're a young-ish couple that might already own a house, like a lot of your assets and money would be tied up in that house. So until you sold that house, like you really didn't have like a ton of available cash.
Yeah.
He always understood that, and he was very accommodating, which I always appreciated because it was comfortable.
Definitely, definitely a huge bonus. So people are like, yep, we're going forward. We've picked our lot. We've made all the decisions on kind of the general information about the house. And ground's broken. Things are going. So there can be a long, I'm sorry.
We got in trouble. Rachel gave us trouble for pounding. Dino actually
I'm sorry, Uncle
gave
Dino.
us trouble. Yeah. Dino's Tinker Shed, shout out.
How do you, it can be a long process between that point and actually.
Longer now.
Yes. Like getting the keys, transferring ownership. So how do you kind of manage, what happens kind of in that in-between stage, and how do you kind of manage that process?
It depends what your situation is currently. Like if you own a house, a lot of times you'll be selling your house during that stage.
Yeah.
I guess if you don't own a house, like John will have you, again, I keep going back to John. It's my experience, trust me. It's just where I've lived in the John Goodman world of homes. Again, I don't know how all the other builders do it, but there's points in that build where he needs input. So once it's framed, but before drywall, he's going to want you to come and do an electrical layout. So you literally, you go into the house and say, like, I want a switch here. I want outlets all over here. I want, 4 outlets in the garage. Plumbing's usually kind of set out according to the plans.
Yeah.
And so, he's going to call you every probably few weeks to a month for something else that you need to meet him at the house for, to go through and discuss.
Yeah.
Because he doesn't want to get to the point where he can't change something where you thought maybe something else. And
yes.
So, if you want a closet wall moved, he'll do it. Like a lot of builders will reluctantly do it. He was pretty cool with it.
At a point, probably.
To the extent of what's involved in that. But, he's going to want your basement layout. So if you're finishing the basement, he literally gets out there with paint and says, okay, where do you want this wall? Do you want it moved over here? Where do you want this? I want this a little bigger. I want this bathroom a little wider. Just that kind of stuff. So, John was always good at letting people see it through the process, but I've actually heard of a lot of builders that don't let you see it during the process, and they're pretty gatekeepery with that, which is, I've always found concerning, because I get that they don't want people just roaming around the building sites because there are some liability issues, but they wouldn't even let you in. I'm thinking man, that's rough. It's exciting. John used to, give me a key and I could just go whenever I wanted and check it out. He didn't care.
I remember until there
that's not the best practice.
Until there were doors up.
Yeah,
It was,
it's
and
hard to stop you.
we would go and
Yeah.
do that all the time. We'd go and we've got pictures of us in like a
Standing-
half-built house
yeah,
with no
exactly.
windows or doors, and we're like, hey.
But those are the, like, I mean, 50 years from now, if you were still in that house, that'd be a cool picture to have.
It would be very cool.
Yeah.
And we're not in that house anymore. Still a cool picture to have. Yeah, ours was probably because, again, not doing such a custom experience where we're doing model X.
Yeah.
So they're going to have pretty much the layout of
They'll know,
everything.
yeah.
And shy of a few changes that we made, at least in the second one. Yeah, that there wasn't a lot of that. So we didn't probably have as many touch points through that experience as, say, somebody who would in a true custom build. So that's pretty awesome. Okay, so you touched on it a little bit. Do you have any tips for those people? Like if you're in that, I need to sell my home, but we know it's going to take, God, I feel like at one point they were like, oh, it'll take like 3 months to build this new home.
For John's,
Okay.
from shovel in the ground to finish, John's shortest time frame he ever really would give would be like 4 to 4.5 months.
Yeah.
That was like in the middle teens where he was like building 20, 25 houses a year. He was a machine.
Yeah.
Now, I mean, supply chain issues
Yes.
and it's longer. It's probably at least 6.
Yeah.
At least.
Yeah. So in those situations where somebody's going to make that commitment, but then they still have a house to sell, how do we kind of navigate through that?
It depends on the market. So when the market was really good and John was building houses for people, I always said when the framing starts, that's when we list the house.
Okay.
Because I knew when the framing started, that house was probably 2 months away.
Okay.
The kitchen had been ordered. Kitchens were usually back then 5 weeks to build and be delivered. So by that time, and then once the kitchen's in, it's kind of like you can probably finish the house in 2 weeks, 3 weeks.
Yeah.
So when the framing started, I would say let's list the house. That's when I knew the houses were selling. You could probably sell it within a few weeks and have a 2-month close. Bing, bang, boom, you're done.
Yeah.
John was always very good at taking condition of sales. He understood that. And he basically said, yeah, no, like if you haven't sold your house, I'll just delay the closing date for a while, probably more than a lot of builders would. So that's a little bit, of something that the agent and the builder and the people have to talk about. Like, A, will you take a condition of sale?
Yeah.
Which in this market, if a builder's not willing to, like, I feel like he'll never sell a house.
Yeah.
And how long is the closing date? So you just got to be careful when you list your house and what the market's like and what the price range is like. So if you have a sense that it's going to sell quick, that builder can't build that home faster.
Yeah.
So you really have to make sure you time it to line up with that closing date. So you have to have a good idea of the closing date and a good idea of the market and match those two things to kind of make that all work within. I think any builder will give or take a couple weeks here and there, but not like, don't put your house up for sale when the thing's almost closed.
Yeah.
Like that's
Yeah.
you're
Or
asking a lot.
when they're digging the hole.
Yes. Right.
Which I guess, too, it depends if you have a plan B, you have a backup plan.
Yeah.
I mean, from my experience, too, and obviously not everybody has the ability to do this, so it's great that we're very appreciative that we did, but we weren't sure about the market. This was 2009. Yeah. So it was like, but we sold our house pretty quickly. We did list right about when they broke ground, but our backup plan was we moved in with my parents.
Done that a couple times.
We've done that a couple times. That was the first time. Moved back out to Sweetburg, and so we were able to stay with them until it was complete.
Yeah.
So,
and I've said to young couples too, like, if somebody waved that offer in front of your face that has like a 3-week close and it's over asking and it's perfect, do you have a plan B?
Yes.
And a lot of younger couples do.
Yeah.
But a lot of older couples are like, no, like we're just gonna, like we have the money, we don't care, we'll wait for a
Yes.
better offer or whatever. But,
Yeah. What are we
So
going to do?
there's a lot of factors, but
Yeah.
generally matching it up with the market, close dates, and just a logical, sale price, like
Yeah.
asking price, and as an agent, they should know how that's going to look.
Yeah, perfect. Let's talk a little bit about pre-delivery inspection. So we've kind of gone through, we are at that tail end of everything's been complete. We're probably like a couple weeks, a week away from the proposed closing date. You do the pre-delivery inspection. What is that? What's that all about?
So you're going to go to the house with the builder, and the builder's going to go through everything with the house. They're going to show you where everything is. They're going to show you where the shutoffs are. They're going to show you everything that they've done with the house, and you're going to inspect it yourself. Now, we were talking before the cameras rolled on some of the Facebook groups, maybe in different cities, they would always bring an inspector with you then. And I know for a fact, if you tried to bring an inspector with Goodman Homes, he might just blow up the deal and say, you're out. Because to him, and I think to any builder, that's like a trust thing. It's like, oh, you don't trust, and maybe some don't deserve the trust. But what people have to understand is throughout that process, all those phases are being inspected by the local authorities. So you're going to have like framing inspections, electrical inspections, plumbing inspections, insulation's going to, like, all that piece by piece is going to be inspected. So like for that inspector to come and say, well, this isn't code. Well, like, I bet you it is, because it wouldn't have passed to get to that point if it wasn't.
Yeah.
And again, we're talking locally. They have a good reputation.
Yeah.
So that's all we can go on. So it's basically you and the builder, and you're going to go through and you're going to learn about the house. You're going to make sure everything's good and right and what you asked for. But I'm sure you'll ask later. Terrian has some ways to like fix things that are a problem that you've seen, and John had a good name for it.
Well, and I would say too that if there was something, if you're dealing with a good builder, typically speaking, if there was something that just wasn't quite right, they're going to fix it. This isn't about going to, using some sort of an insurance policy or anything out there. It's great that exists, but a good builder's going to take care of it.
Like in my subdivision now, John lives 2 doors down from me. Mark Daru from Daru Fine Homes lives 7 or 8 doors down from me, or whatever the number is. They live in the subdivision they built. Each 1/5 of the houses in. They walk their dogs, they walk around. It would be pretty hard to be like a sketchy, untrustworthy builder, move into the subdivision that you built all these houses in, and proudly walk your dog down the street knowing everybody's like, you son of a...
Houses are falling down all around, but not theirs.
Right. So they stand behind it. They're good guys. They're good.
Yeah. No, for sure. Let's talk about the benefits of new construction.
Okay, I just had this conversation with, somebody 2 weeks ago. To me, so my first house was built, I lived on Earl's Court. It was a 60s house, awesome built, bulletproof, brick, good roof. Everything was fine. Wiring was fine, plumbing was fine. But there's just that always element of a resale house to, like, all the mechanicals, they're all going to be like staggered of what is newer or older. So hard to match up, like, your roof's great, but all your eaves troughs are falling down. Or your roof's great, your furnace is great, but like all your windows are shot.
Yeah.
Or all that stuff's good, but your furnace is old and your air's old. So it's just, it feels like in a resale house, and I'm not bashing resale because there's benefits to that too.
Yes.
Areas, mature trees, more variety of houses. But there's that element of every 5 years, there's probably going to be something that you need to do that's going to cost a decent amount of money. New houses, you can pretty much move in and know that you've got probably 20 years.
Yeah.
If you look after stuff, you've got 20 years of knowing that everything's pretty good.
Yeah.
And even little things like I showed a bunch of houses the other night and the sewer pipe running out to the road
Yeah.
in an old house is always clay, right?
Yep.
And tree roots, they cave that in, and not to alarm anybody, like it's almost like a ticking time bomb. Like it's gonna happen at some point where a tree's gonna smash in your sewer. You're gonna have to pay to get that all redone to the house, out to the sewer line. It's fine, but in a new house, like it's all PVC, it's all good.
Yeah.
It's done right, done to code, everything's bing, bang, boom, top notch, good. So to me, it's like there's an element of just worry-free living for a lot of years after you move in.
Yeah. And there's comfort there knowing, the whole history of the house, right? It's,
You know what's behind the walls because you've seen them.
Yeah.
Right?
If they let you in.
Yeah. So this is flat, right? I've noticed like it just goes flat earlier than yours. Yeah.
Let me see.
I like the taste, but it's flat. Anyway, sidebar.
Yeah, I don't know. I was disappointed. I was expecting more.
I know.
I'm sorry, Diet Coke. I'm really sorry.
That was new. Okay.
Okay. Obviously, one other thing too with new, some of the benefits is going to be more energy efficient. Compared to older homes.
Right, and there's arguments to be made by certain people that like new homes are too airtight.
Yeah.
So they do get more, like a new home is very damp. So that you get a good builder will always tell you on every floor run a dehumidifier or run your bathroom fans.
Yeah.
Drywall, mud, paint, everything. There's an element of moisture to that takes months and months to dry out. But like in the winter, you see these new homes and they're not as much now because the HRVs are code as of 2019, I believe. But, in that range of 2010, if you built a new home there, like your windows are sweating when it's cold outside in the winter because there's just no air movement.
Yeah.
None. So cheaper to heat, cheaper to cool, but there is an element that there's like no airflow, no air escapage at all.
Yeah.
And it does cause other little issues.
Right.
Like if you have a transom up top in a new house, like I'd get up there and like actually look and clean. A lot of mildew and stuff that can happen.
Yeah, or you can be too dry like my house, just dried right out. Things to watch for in new construction. Things that maybe somebody who's going through the process, they don't necessarily account for when they're doing a new build. So whether it's costs or any other type of like surprises along the way that kind of might catch them off guard.
I'd say it's all the after stuff. So a lot of times you're going to sign a contract with a builder and it's going to have, you'd like to think that the agent and the builder or everybody would think of all these things, but sometimes they don't. But like water softener, garage door opener, blinds.
Yes, that's always a big one.
Your driveway, a couple of years down the line, sidewalks, patios, decks. Sometimes a builder they'll have a standard deck, but it's like 10 by 12, but like you want a big one. So unless you've thought of that beforehand and like wrote it into the offer, it's expensive. Like you probably, if you wanted to, could add up $40,000-$50,000 of stuff in the first 3 years after you move in. That's appliances that are just like you have to have them. Like in Woodstock, you should have a water softener.
Yeah.
So
definitely.
I would say that as far as you can control yourself in the process of picking everything, right? Like nobody's got a gun to your head that you have to go $10,000 over in the kitchen. I can only imagine you. But like that's controllable. At least that's controllable. But like at some point you can't, it's hard to move into a house that has like no blinds anywhere.
Yeah.
So it can get expensive.
It can. And I mean, some of the things maybe you can get away with, okay, in the bedrooms we're going to have blinds, but in this room, you know, maybe that's phase 2. We can.
And if it doesn't face anything,
Yeah.
like if there's nothing important there, fine.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's just a lot of, there's something to be said for a 2 or 3 year old house being a better value than a brand new house, because a lot of people have like already done all that stuff, and you're not really paying too much of a premium for it.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah. If they've done the landscaping or anything, because landscape, it can be so expensive.
Yes.
So yeah, that does, it's good points for a resale home, but yeah. Let's see my cards and my questions. We touched a little bit on Terrion.
Yeah.
But it's good to have, and it's something that I look for mostly now in terms of if I've got clients who are looking at, it could be a new build or it could be resale, but say it's like 2 years old or something like that. I will go onto the Terrion website and I will put in the address and see, is there a warranty still attached to the house? Because I think that that's a good thing, that if your builder is registered with Terrion, and I just personally think it's a good thing.
It is.
And Drew's going to tell us why he thinks differently.
Terrion's tough, man. Like, it's tough because people have it as this big umbrella warranty on a house that's 7 years.
Yeah.
And it's so not that. Like, you basically, when you move into a house, you have 30 days for a bitch list. That's what John called it. Nail pops, this scuff, that little thing that's not right, some handlebar, door handle's loose, like, you know, you get all this paperwork, and like in the first 30 days, you have to write down a whole list of things that you know, aren't right in your mind.
Yeah.
Builder will come over and fix all of them. I don't know the specifics of how many years covers what, but I know after 2 years, your house almost has to be falling down and unsafe to live in to claim some kind of warranty that you think you're going to get paid on, right? It's just not as good as people think it is. So there's been a few that I've heard through the years where, you know, 4 years down the line, somebody's claiming they've put in a claim for Terrion for that builder, and, you know, some kind of whatever structure, but the Terrion will come out and inspect it.
Yeah.
And I guess if you talk to the builders, Terrion's, what? Sorry. Terrion is like evil. If you talk to the consumer, Terrion's their best friend, evil. It depends who you're talking to. It's just not as good as people think it is.
Yeah.
It's not as wide-ranging scoping of warranties as people think it is.
Yeah.
Good to have, but you also got to realize that everything's being inspected as the process goes.
Yeah.
Like,
the other thing that I would look at, though, too, if I'm looking to see, okay, there's Terrion warranty on that, I also look at the builder to see if there's been
like a million claims.
Because that to me is a red flag. Because I would think a good builder probably wouldn't. They're gonna, like we said, they're gonna fix it themselves. You're not putting in a claim against it. So
because they don't want the claim against their name.
Right. So it's always good, and it's always good to, when I look up and see that all of our local guys are pretty darn clean. And I mean, it's their reputation.
Yep.
They're gonna come in, they're gonna do it. And I've had that happen before, and I've always been great about it. So, after all that, if you could give one piece of advice to someone who was thinking about buying a new build home, is there, having worked in it but also having gone through it twice, personally, is there a piece of advice that you would give?
You got to be comfortable with the builder.
Okay.
And I would want to talk to the builder. I'd be very uncomfortable building with a company that you never talk or really see the builder. And that's probably unrealistic with the bigger companies. I get that, but I'm so used to Woodstock and seeing all the builders, the local guys that have worked, be present at the sites daily. I just have a hard time not having a relationship with the builder of some kind. So my one piece of advice is just be comfortable with the builder and know who you're getting in business with, because it can go bad in a hurry.
Yeah, for sure. And this is a huge, huge investment.
Yep.
So, last question. Do you have any funny or off-the-wall stories from your days of working in new builds?
Not crazy, but some of the finishes that I've seen people pick. We did a row of townhouses on Tamarack,
Yep.
and it was the last house on the right, and people painted, and this is like right from the builder, like they told John what color paint they wanted. They painted the whole place pink, and all their plumbing fixtures were black. So their toilet was black and their bathroom was pink, and it looked like the set of Scarface. Like it looked like it was straight out of like the early 80s Miami. That's what they liked, though. That's what they wanted. Like I'm not kidding you. It was like Pepto-Bismol pink.
Wow.
The whole townhouse with black sink, faucets, toilet, everything. And it's
a black toilet?
Yeah.
Interesting.
I don't even know if you've gone.
On that note, like and subscribe, folks.